I want to ask you something important. Why are you learning English? Not the easy answer, not the one you say quickly without thinking. The real answer, the deep one. Because when learning gets hard, and it always gets hard, the easy answer is not enough. When you are tired, when the lesson feels boring, when you have missed 3 days and starting again feels heavy, when motivation has disappeared and discipline is running low. In those moments, the easy answer does not help. I am learning English because it is useful, because my job requires it, because I want to travel one day. Those answers are true, but they are thin. They do not carry you through the hard moments, but a real why, a personal, specific, deeply meaningful why that carries you. I am learning English because I want to understand my daughter's school reports when she studies abroad, because I want to read my favorite author in his original language, because I want to stand in front of an international team and be understood completely, confidently, as the person I really am. That kind of why does not disappear when motivation fades. It waits and it pulls you back. Today's story is about a young man named Leandro. Leandro had been studying English for years, but he had never found his real why until one evening, one quiet, specific evening, he did, and everything changed. This is his story. Meet Leandro. Leandro was 28 years old. He worked as a project coordinator at a construction company. He managed timelines, communicated with teams, tracked budgets. He was organized and reliable. His English was intermediate, 2 years of evening classes, reasonable grammar, decent vocabulary, functional, but not confident. He had been studying because he felt he should, because English was important, because his company was growing and international projects were coming, because everyone around him seemed to be improving and he did not want to be left behind. These were all reasonable reasons, but they were not his reasons. They were reasons given to him by the world around him, by the expectation that English was necessary, by the vague professional pressure to keep up, and because they were not really his. They did not hold him when things got difficult. Every time he hit a hard patch, a confusing grammar rule, a week of missed sessions, a conversation that went badly, the motivation evaporated quickly because it had never been rooted in something real and personal. He kept restarting, kept losing momentum, kept studying without a clear sense of why it mattered, to him specifically, not to the world in general, until the evening of his nephew's birthday. The nephew's birthday, Leandro's sister lived abroad. She had moved 4 years ago when their small son, Leandro's nephew, Omar. Omar was turning 6. Leandro's sister had organized a video call so the family could celebrate together. The call connected. Omar appeared on screen, excited, happy, wearing a small paper crown his mother had made. Leandro's sister translated back and forth between Leandro and Omar because Omar, growing up abroad, spoke mainly English now. His Arabic was limited, a few phrases, simple words. Leandro watched his nephew and tried to talk to him. He said simple things in Arabic. Omar smiled politely but did not fully understand. His sister translated. Omar laughed and responded in English, fast and natural, and completely beyond what Leandro could follow. The call lasted 40 minutes. Leandro and Omar communicated through his sister the whole time. After the call ended, Leandro sat alone in his apartment. He thought about Omar, about the paper crown, about the laugh that had come so easily in a language Leandro could not follow. He thought about the years ahead, Omar growing up, family calls, visits, the relationship between an uncle and a nephew, built through conversation, through jokes, through stories told and understood. He thought, if I do learn English, I will not really know my nephew, not as he grows, not in his language, not in the conversations that matter. He sat with that for a long time, and then he opened his notebook and wrote one line. He wrote, I am learning English for Omar. Lesson 1, a why that has a face. The next morning, Leandro woke up and did his English session, not because he felt motivated, Not because it was professionally necessary, not because of any vague pressure from the world, because of Omar. Because of a 6-year-old in a paper crown who laughed in a language his uncle could not follow. That image, specific, personal, real, was different from every previous reason he had studied. It had a face, and a reason with a face is a reason that stays. When he sat down to study and felt the familiar reluctance, the not today pull, he thought about Omar, about a family visit 2 years from now, about being able to tell his nephew a story, to understand Omar's joke, to be present, really present, in a conversation that mattered. The reluctance did not vanish completely, but it was quieter, because on the other side of it was something real. He wrote in his notebook, "My why has a face. When the lesson is hard, I remember the face. Then I continue." He thought about other people's whys. Some people learned English for a parent who always dreamed of it, some for a partner from another country, some for a childhood version of themselves who had promised to see the world one day. All of these whys had faces, had specific people, specific moments, specific images that made the language feel necessary, not abstractly, not professionally, but personally. He had found his. Omar, 6 years old, paper crown, laughing in a language his uncle was going to learn. Daily English sentences. Repeat after me. My why has a face. I remember it when learning is hard. Personal reasons carry me further than professional ones. I study today because of someone I love. The image is specific and real. It does not disappear. When reluctance arrives, I think of my why. Then I continue. A reason with a face is a reason that stays. I found my why. Now I use it every single day. Lesson 2. The why makes the how easier. 2 months after Omar's birthday call, Leandro noticed something. He had not missed a single study session, not one. 62 consecutive mornings of English, some short, 15 minutes on exhausted days, some longer, 35 or 40 on good ones, but not one morning without something. He thought about the years before, the constant restarting, the lost momentum, the missed weeks. What was different now? The why. When the alarm rang on a hard morning, the old version of him had asked, "Do I feel like studying today?" And the answer had often been no. And no had led to skipping, and skipping had led to more skipping. Now, when the alarm rang, he did not ask if he felt like studying. He thought about Omar, about the call, about the paper crown, about conversations that were waiting for him 2 years from now. And he got up, not because he felt like it, because of Omar. The why had not made the how disappear. The lessons were still sometimes boring, the grammar was still sometimes confusing, the mornings were still sometimes heavy, but the why made the how manageable, because manageable was all he needed. He did not need to love every lesson. He needed a reason strong enough to sit down for it anyway. He had that reason. He wrote in his notebook, "The why does not make studying easy. It makes sitting down possible, and sitting down is everything." Daily English sentences. Repeat after me. My why makes sitting down possible on hard mornings. I do not need to love every lesson. I need a reason to do it. 62 mornings. My why made every one possible. The lesson is sometimes boring. I do it because of Omar. I do not ask if I feel like it. I think of my why. Then I begin. Sitting down is everything. My why gets me there. The how is easier when the why is strong enough. Lesson 3. The next call. 4 months after Omar's birthday, Leandro's sister organized another family video call. This time, Leandro prepared. In the days before the call, he had practiced simple phrases, things an uncle might say to a 6-year-old nephew. Happy phrases, playful phrases. How are you? Did you go to school today? What is your favorite color? I miss you. Simple, but his, prepared and practiced. The call connected. Omar appeared, still in good spirits. Slightly older looking in 4 months, the way small children always are. Leandro's sister began to translate, as usual. Leandro said, "Wait." He looked at the screen, at Omar. In English, slow, careful, clearly practiced, he said, "Hi, Omar, how are you?" Omar's eyes went wide. Then he grinned, a real delighted, surprised grin. I am good, he said. Uncle Leandro speaks English. Leandro's sister put her hand over her mouth. Leandro said, slowly, carefully, a little bit. I am learning. Omar laughed and said something fast that Leandro did not fully catch. But he caught enough. He caught the happiness. He caught the surprise. He caught the connection. Thin and early and imperfect. But there. Real. His sister, when the call ended, said quietly, that was the best thing. Leandro closed his laptop. He thought 4 months of showing up, 4 months of Omar as the why, and now one real moment. Imperfect, thin, but real. He wrote in his notebook, I spoke to Omar in English today. He said Uncle Leandro speaks English. That is why I study. Daily English sentences. Repeat after me. I prepared for this moment. The preparation paid off. Slow and careful and practice, that is enough to begin. The connection is thin and early and imperfect, but it is real. I spoke to someone I love in their language. That is everything. 4 months of showing up built this one real moment. My why produced a result I can see and feel and remember. That is why I study. I write it down and I never forget it. Lesson 4. 1 year later. 1 year after Omar's birthday call, Leandro sat at his desk. He had a habit now. Every morning, 25 minutes of English before work. It had been consistent for nearly 12 months. A few gaps, illness, travel, genuinely impossible weeks. But mostly there, mostly every morning. His English was different. Not fluent, not perfect, but genuinely, meaningfully further along than it had been a year ago. He could follow most of a conversation at normal speed. He could express himself clearly in professional emails. He could watch an English video without subtitles and understand most of it. And most importantly to him, he could talk to Omar. Not perfectly, but really, in full sentences, in jokes that Omar found funny, in stories that Omar followed with his eyes wide. Last month they had talked, just the two of them, without his sister translating, for 11 minutes. 11 minutes of uncle and nephew, in English, direct, real. He thought about the why. About the evening after Omar's birthday when he had written, I am learning English for Omar. He had read that line every morning for a year. Before every session, one line, 7 words. 7 words had carried 12 months of daily practice. He opened his notebook to a new page. He wrote, Year 1, for Omar. Keep going. Then he pressed play on his morning lesson. Daily English sentences. Repeat after me. 1 year of showing up for my why. I kept going. 11 minutes of real conversation with someone I love. My why carried 12 months of daily practice. 7 words. 1 year. Everything changed. I am not fluent. I am genuinely further along. That is real. I write, Year 1, for Omar. Keep going. Then I begin. The why that started this is the why that continues it. Final words. Find your why. Leandro's story is simple. He had been studying English for years without a real why, with thin, borrowed reasons that evaporated when learning got hard, until one video call, one nephew, one paper crown, and 7 words written in a notebook. I am learning English for Omar. That why, specific, personal, with a face, carried him through 12 months of mornings, through the hard ones, through the tired ones, through every moment when the old version of him would have said, not today. He said today instead. For Omar, maybe you are studying English without a real why. Maybe you have borrowed reasons because it is useful, because everyone says it is important, but they do not quite feel like yours. I want to ask you to find your own. Think carefully. Take a few minutes. Ask yourself, who do I want to speak to? What do I want to read in the original language? Where do I want to go and be understood completely? What version of myself am I building this for? Find the face. Find the specific moment. Find the why that is so personal it cannot be given to you by the world, only by your own heart. Write it down. 1 line, 7 words or fewer, and read it every morning before you begin. Because a why strong enough to have a face is a why strong enough to carry you all the way. See you in the next one. Stay calm, stay consistent, and find your why.